Hey, hi, hello, my name is Thomason, and today I'll be doing my August wrap-up and my September TBR. So we're just gonna jump right into the video today because I have a job interview this afternoon and I'm so excited, and I'm doing this video a little last minute because there's been stuff going on. I toured the college I want to go to yesterday and things are starting to come together in the process, so hopefully I can still edit this and put it on YouTube in time for you guys to see this video. But without further ado, let's jump right in. So for the August TBR, I mostly succeeded. Things have changed and I'm trying not to beat myself up too much, even though I am a bit disappointed in myself. But in my defense, I have already completed half of my Goodreads challenge, and so I think that I do need to go at a steadier pace, but I do want to still keep my productivity going. First book I read was The Battle Drum by Sarah El-Arifi. I really enjoyed The Final Strife. You guys can see my thoughts on that book in my July wrap-up August TBR video. I had just jumped into The Battle Drum, and man, did it deliver. It was 5 stars. This is a really good example of how a sequel can be better than the first book in a trilogy or series. Sarah really nailed it with this. It was still a cohesive continuation of the story that was established in The Final Strife, but man, you learn so much about the world, you learn so much about the magic, and you learn so much about things that are starting to come together in this trilogy. The ending, man, the ending was so such a cliffhanger, an even worse cliffhanger than the first one. Thankfully, Sarah announced the final title and release of the third book, and I had guessed it, The Ending Fire, that'll be out in August of next year, so I won't have to wait too long, and my memory will be pretty recent, so I don't think I'll need a reread of these. But this has quickly become one of my favorite fantasy series, and I really, really love the characters. I loved all their arcs. Man, Sila, Hassa, and Anur are my faves. This author literally is so good, and I thank Samantha Shannon every day for always giving me new recommendations. I need to check out her recommendations more often because I guess we have similar taste, but this was a really good book and I'm looking forward to the finale next year. The next book I read in August is called Red, White, and Royal Blue. I kind of did an in-depth review with the video I did where I compared the book versus the recent film adaptation. Congratulations to Casey McQuiston for that. Overall, I really enjoyed this read. I first read it in 2020 and I didn't have my own copy, which is why this still looks brand new for some reason. I tried to make it look as well read and beat up as possible, but somehow it managed to still look all glossy and shiny, and I guess that's just this book's personality. But I really enjoyed my reread. If you want to see more of my thoughts on this book and also the film adaptation, please check out the book versus film adaptation video. I really enjoyed making that video. I love Alex and Henry, and Casey McQuiston is one of my favorite authors, and this is one of my favorite books, so definitely enjoyed it, and I recommend it to anyone who's looking for a good rom-com, and especially a good queer rom-com, but just a good rom-com in general, because this one's really unique and distinctive in the genre, and I enjoyed it, and I can see myself returning to it in the future. The next book I read this month is I Was Born for This by Alice Oseman. Now, I had mentioned in my August TBR video that I really wanted to read all of Alice Oseman's works, but I've postponed the rest of it because I started reading Solitaire, and first of all, I just think I'm in a fantasy or classic mood lately, and I also saw that this winter is going to be dropping in the US this next Tuesday. Heartstopper Volume 5 will be dropping in December, I believe, of this year in the US, so I've decided to go ahead and leave the rest of the Oseman verse in December. Heartstopper is pretty easy and quick to read, and I think that the last 2 books in the Oseman verse I need to read should be read in a particular order, which I'll go into detail in my December TBR video, but it just needs to be read in a certain order so that I can understand like what's happening and maybe see how Heartstopper and Solitaire / This Winter like all creates one cohesive story. So I'm saving that for when Heartstopper Volume 5 comes out and when I have This Winter as well. But back to I Was Born for This. This was such a good book. I think this is my favorite Alice Oseman novel. I really enjoyed read Radio Silence and Loveless. Those were the first two books I'd read in the Osmanverse, but they just weren't like, I don't know what it was. It just didn't feel like a 5-star read to me. They were 4 stars for sure, and they were really good because they were able to tell compelling stories, and the characters were very diverse and real, and I really enjoyed and rooting for all of her characters. Like, Alice Oseman has a way of creating really good characters, but I Was Born for This was the first 5-star read for me. It was just so compulsively readable. I read it in like 2-3 days, and it also had that compelling story aspect, but I feel like the final product and the ending was a 5-star ending. I don't know what it is. I'm still trying to figure it out because like I love all of Alice Oseman's work and I don't understand what it is, but you know, I've learned to like listen to my reader's instinct, and yeah, this is the first 5-star read to me. I don't know, maybe it's because, you know, it's a really good book about celebrity worship and the culture of social media and how fandom can be toxic, but also how it creates this really complicated parasocial dynamic between celebrities and their fans. And Angel and Jimmy, who are on the cover, I loved them so much. It was so interesting to see also how Joan of Arc played a role, because Jimmy's band is called the Arc and they based that off of Joan of Arc, which is kind of spoilery, so I won't get into it if you guys ever want to read this. It was interesting to see Alice kind of make allusions to the Joan of Arc lore and kind of like plant that in this story in a very loose way, and I just really enjoyed it. I thought it was a 5-star read, and it really, I don't know, it really packed a punch. And I've seen that Alice Oseman has stated that they want to write a sequel. Please do. If you see this video or anything that people are saying they want to make it, please listen to your audience and make it, because I need more Jimmy and Lister. I need Jimmy and Lister, and I also need my boy Rowan to find a good, healthy relationship, and also if Bliss wants to find a healthy relationship, and also Juliet. I just want to see these characters more. I want to see them. I don't feel like their story's completely done. This did feel like a 1-arc book, but I want to see more of these characters. They were so amazing and the story was so compelling, and yeah, I really enjoyed this, so I'm looking forward to finishing the Osmanverse later this year. And finally, the last book I read in August is The Unbroken by C.L. Clarke. I kind of went into my thoughts on this in my Goodreads tag video, and I'll go ahead and share a little more. This book is really good. This is also another one of Samantha Shannon's recommendations, and it's part of the Sapphic Trifecta, as I've mentioned before. I really enjoyed this book. It was very addicting, kind of like I Was Born for This. I was able to read this really quickly. I read it in 2 days, and I really enjoyed Terrain and Luca, and Terrain's character arc in this book is really good. There were some things that I would have maybe fixed in terms of clarity when it comes to how the magic or certain plot points works, but I will give the author the benefit of the doubt because this is not only a debut but a first book in a trilogy. C.L. Clarke overall did really well, and I think that some of the things they did were for the purpose of this book. It covers serious topics such as, you know, colonization and the pitfalls that both the colonizer and the colonized face, and it was very interesting to see how the two sides have different perspectives, but how there's like muddled lines of morality, and I just really enjoyed it, and I am really in love with this cover too, and it was a 5-star read for me, so I think I did pretty good this August. Next up, I will be showing you guys my September TBR, and I am going to make sure that I get this done because I got a little behind. Maybe it was because the jet lag of I Was Born for This and The Unbroken. I had read those books so fast that I kind of made my reader brain tired and I just couldn't read much this last month, but these will be the books that I for sure will see to its completion. I'm speaking it into existence right now. I just need to read all these so that I can get my goals, because I want to get as much stuff read this year within reason. So the first 2 books that I will for sure be reading this month are actually my current read, and I've already gone in more than enough depth about these books in some of my previous videos, so I'll just show it to you guys. That is The Faithless and The Completed Oscar Wilde, the sequel to The Unbroken, and The Completed Oscar Wilde is self-explanatory. Other than his novel The Picture of Dorian Gray, this is all of his collected works. I am thoroughly enjoying it, and I just need to finish his nonfiction segment of this book, and I'm looking forward to finishing that. So these will be the first 2 that I finish for sure. No exceptions, nothing. I'm doing it this month. Next 2 books that I plan on reading this month are The Jasmine Throne and The Oleander Sword by Tasha Suri. I really wanted to read the last 2 books I showed you guys and these by the end of August, but sometimes plans change and things happen, and that's okay. It's not the end of the world, and I have this month to read them. So I'm looking forward to it. As soon as I finish to Oscar Wilde and The Faithless, I will be reading this too. I need to get these done. I need to read these. I need to. And I'm excited to dive into Tasha Suri's world and see what the hype is about from Samantha Shannon and also just the fantasy sapphic community. And I'm looking forward to it. And these covers are so beautiful. And I love how they look cohesive together. So I'm looking forward to reading this, and I will read it. I will read it this month. And since the last set of books are also books that I've shown you guys before, I'm just gonna be doing a quick run through. I guess a lot of the books that I mentioned to you guys in earlier videos I didn't get to, but I'm getting to this month. I am. And I have a particular method and technique to where I will add all the total page average of all the books I want to read in a month and then divide it by day so that I can make sure I fulfill that quota. Because I need to read all these. I need to, especially with Foul Heart Huntsman right around the corner, and I want to read Immortal Longings by Chloe Gong after that, then Swordcatcher, and then I want to read the 2 editions of The Bone Season to start my video series where I compare 2 editions of 2 books. And I also need to just catch up on some other books before the end of this year. So these all I'm reading. I don't care. I will make myself do it. And since I've shown you guys these set of books before, I'm just going to do a quick run through. The first one is Agnes Grey by Anne Bronte. The second one is Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. The third one is Shirley by Charlotte Bronte. The fourth one is Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. And the last one is Bronte's Mistress by Finola Austin. I mentioned these books in my very first video, the newbie tag, and I definitely want to read these for my book club that I'm a part of, which I recently hung out with them. So if you want to check my Instagram out, where I post all things books and bookish and sometimes writerly things, please give it a follow. It'll be at Tomes Traveler. And you can see recently that I hung out with my girl book club. I love them so much. And one of the things we're wanting to read before the end of this year are some of the Bronte sisters collection. They don't all have to read all of these, but I just definitely want to read all of these so that I can have an idea of how each of the sisters wrote and be able to start and build off of that. And also, this book at the bottom is really funny, and you can see the full story for how I got it in my newbie tag video, but I definitely am looking forward to seeing this. It's basically a historical fic about these 3 sisters and their brother, and how they grew distant from one another in real life history due to an affair that his brother had with one of their lady friends. So I'm excited to see all of these and how they all connect together in a thematic way, and I'm excited. These will be the last reads of September for me. So there you guys have it. That concludes today's video. I apologize if this video seemed a bit rushed and it was a bit short, but again, a lot of the books I've shown you are books that I just hadn't gotten to yet and that I will make sure I get to this month, and I'm really looking forward to reading them. I am just so excited to continue my reading journey this year. It's been an incredible reading year. I've read the most I've read in a year, and it's felt pretty good to be able to read so many books because there's so many books in so little time. But thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please be sure to like and comment on this video, share your thoughts, share your current reads or what you're planning on reading this month, what you've read last month, and please be sure to subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. It would do so much for this channel. I want to get as many subscribers as I can before the end of the year, so that way I can build a community and get myself established in YouTube's algorithm so that we can get more and more bookish friends and build a community out of it. I love reading, and I'm sure you guys do too. Thank you guys so much again, and I hope you're having a wonderful week. I hope you have a wonderful Friday and a wonderful weekend, and I will see you guys in next week's video. So be sure to take care. Bye!